some ways, Alexandria is healthier than most places. We often do better on average than Virginia overall. A lot of national statistics, we do well on a lot of things. But that's not the case for everyone who lives in our community, and so that's really where we focus our time and energy, is looking at those differences. Because how one neighborhood experiences diabetes is not how their neighboring neighborhood experiences diabetes. Same thing with mental health, same thing with the actual physical temperature of our community. Do you all know that there are some neighborhoods in Alexandria that are physically hotter than other neighborhoods? That means higher utility bills, that means more money spent on air conditioning. There's ripple effects going on with all of these issues in our community. So we found big differences not only by neighborhood, but also by race and ethnicity, by income level, by all sorts of other factors. This should not be shocking to anybody. Is anybody surprised that there are differences in health in our community? No. The really frustrating thing is that this is not new for Alexandria. It's not new for a lot of communities. But in Alexandria, we've seen some of these same differences in health for decades, and it's not changing. So now, the new question is, how many times do we have to keep looking at this same data before we try something different? Before we really take focused action to have a new way of addressing health in our community by centering the people who are experiencing those health challenges. Because the old way of doing business just isn't working. So I'm going to come back to what that new way could look like, but first I want to tell you very quickly how we got to this information, how we got to this data. It's hard to summarize a year in like 5 minutes, but we're going to try. So as Jean pointed out, there is a little one-pager in front of you. This is not the whole report. The whole report is online. There is also a really comprehensive, beautiful data dashboard that you can explore by maps, by data points, breaking it down by all sorts of different factors so you can really see what's going on in our city. Because it's really hard to be effective and act if you don't have the information to act on very specifically. So please take a look at that online and explore. We did a survey. We heard from more than 2,000 Alexandrians about their health, the top issues in our community. And there were a lot of different answers, but I want to highlight one in particular for this morning. Nearly half, 47% of those more than 2,000 respondees selected mental health as a health issue in Alexandria. That's a lot. The next highest response was at 30%, so you can see what a big difference in terms of response focus. That next one was alcohol, opiates, and substance use, which is sometimes related, sometimes not related to mental health. So this is something that not only do we see in data, our concerns in our community, but residents themselves are saying this is an issue for Alexandria. So we also, as I mentioned, we looked at a lot of data, over almost 2,000 different data points. That's a lot. We kept our epidemiologists really busy. So please take a look at that information. Use it in your own work. If you're thinking about the things that you're doing related to all these efforts, mental health or physical health or any of those other issues, look at how this can inform some of the things that you're doing. All right, I want to go back to the initial piece. So what are we going to do different? Now that we have this information, how are we going to take a different approach to finally addressing some of these big differences in health in our community? So the approach that we're taking this fall is to develop a community health improvement plan. That's not the new part. We've done a community health improvement plan before. The different part is that not only are we doing a citywide approach, we are also doing several place-based approaches. Because what we found is that there are several neighborhoods that over and over showed up in the data. One is the Arlandria neighborhood, and the other is Landmark Van Dorn area. Those neighborhoods showed up over and over and over again. And so why don't we just go there and work with the people who live there, right? It's time to actually talk with the people experiencing these challenges, hear their ideas, their priorities, and lift them up and turn them into plans. So that's what we're doing this fall. We are developing 3 different coalitions. One is in the Landmark Van Dorn area, the other is in Alexandria, and finally, we are doing a citywide coalition on mental health, which you all are now, I guess, part of because of all the work that you do. We're just going to add you to the list. So why are we doing a citywide initiative related to mental health? I already told you, 47% of respondents have selected mental health as a top issue, and all the data is there. How many times do we need to ask people about this, right? We know that this is a concern. The challenge is, mental health is a really big category. We had a discussion here in this room months ago about whether we should even call it mental health or behavioral health, right? Or do we call it mental well-being, or do we focus on other things? Because these terms all mean something different to the people hearing it, right? Some people hear that and they think about brain health. They think about dementia and Alzheimer's. Some people think about the everyday stress in their lives that might be impacted by poverty or other sorts of stressors, family stressors. Some people think about their role as a caregiver and the anxiety that it creates for them. Other people think of severe mental illness like schizophrenia and all those issues. So everybody processes those terms in different ways. And that might be one of our first meeting discussions, honestly, is what we want to call this. Because it shouldn't just be coming from the health department. It shouldn't just be coming from our friends at the Partnership for Healthier Alexandria, which we'll be working with closely to do this work. It has to be coming from the community. We tried the other way. It's made some difference, but not enough. We really need to do something different. Everybody knows that quote, right? If you want the same results, keep doing the same things, right? We want something different, so it's time to act on that. I don't want to go more into deep because I know we want to have some conversation, but what I do want to do is pass out these very handy little clipboards, right? This is back from my community organizing days. We're going to pass these around. You're going to share your information and which coalition you want to be a part of. The Alexandria Coalition, if you live and work or play there, the Landmark Van Dorn one, or the citywide mental health effort. And I expect everyone's going to at least check the citywide mental health effort. But we would love your participation in this work because, again, as I said, and I will keep saying it, we can't just do this ourselves. That doesn't work. We've tried it. It doesn't work. It's time to do something different and include the people who are impacted and come up with some new ways. At the end of this work, this process to develop this community health improvement plan, those will not be health department or a Partnership for Healthier Alexandria developed strategies. All the strategies, all the tactics, all the ideas will be generated by the community and implemented by the community. So it's time to start doing the work, and I'm excited to be with you all to get that going. So thank you.